fashion, sports, and documentaries. So catch all your bits on the app.
The board, management, and staff of Morrison Media Group presents the 2026 anniversary celebration lecture of Morrison Media Group. Theme: Media's role in shaping social change, addressing inequities, and empowering voices. Chairman Alex Ndudi Enebele, FSM, President, Institute of Strategic Management of Nigeria, Chartered. Keynote speaker, Professor Armstrong Idachaba, Professor of Media and Broadcasting Communication. Panelist, Professor Chris Ochonogo, Immediate Past Head of Department, Journalism and Media Studies, University of Port Harcourt. Dr. Ijoma Tobosia, Secretary, NUJ, River State. Dr. Sarah Joe, University Orator and Associate Dean, Faculty of Communication and Media, River State University, Port Harcourt. Dr. Ibiere Koki, Ignatius Aju University of Education, Rumolomini, Port Harcourt. Chief Host, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, Esquire, Chairman, Morrison Group. Date: Tuesday, 10th March 2026. Venue: Gate Place Hotel, Kilometer 5, East West Road, adjacent Obirikwere Flyover, Rumosi, Port Harcourt. Time: 10 a.m. For more information, please call Kainde Paul Obofade 081 063 41777 or Samuel Ajinwo at 090 454 00744. Signed, Management.
Good afternoon, viewers, and welcome to ATN Society Watch. This is a program where we spotlight societal issues, give them a collective attention, and work towards solutions that make society better for everyone. Today on the headlines: Clampdown. NAFDAC NOA intensify campaign against underage alcohol abuse. Murder. Oyo man kills brother for shooting him in dream. Sexual abuse. Police nabbs pastor wife over teen rape allegation. Controversy. Umahi claims his accuser deleted false videos. We're open for sponsorship of this program. Jingles and advert placements, news and event coverage, personality, society and political interviews, product, service promotion and commercials. Watch us live on www.atlanticnetwork.tv, Avo TV channel 205, Limex TV platform, Ifasec platform, Apple TV, Niger TV, Iroko TV. Connect with us on ATN socials. Subscribe, like, and share. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. And on X at Atlantic TV Net. We go on a short break. And when we return, I will introduce my guest, and we will delve right onto the reports. Stay with us. Welcome back from that short break, and thanks for staying with us. Joining me on Society Watch today is Mr. Didier Sofunuchi, a social activist and a public affairs analyst. You're welcome, Mr. Didier.
Thank you very much.
Like I say, it's always a pleasure. And, I like the fact that you are gradually becoming a friend of the house as a result of your consistency.
It's a privilege.
All right, you're welcome. Now on to the reports. The National Orientation Agency says it will deploy its nationwide structure across all 774 local government areas. The campaign will target markets, schools, motor parks, youth groups, and religious institutions while leveraging both traditional and digital media platforms. The agency will also introduce the NOA media platforms. The agency will also introduce the NOA Cleanup app, available on Android and Apple devices, to enable citizens to report violations and support enforcement efforts in their communities. Officials say the move is aimed at strengthening public participation in safeguarding health and safety. The agencies are calling on parents, community leaders, retailers, and the general public to support the initiative. They stress that protecting children from harmful substances is a collective responsibility necessary for building a healthier and safer nation. What do you make? This report is on the ban of sachet alcohol drinks. We have NAFDAC coming in to say that the exposure, the availability of sachet alcohol drink is in a way enabling even underage children to take alcohol, which is not supposed to be. So what do you make of this report entirely?
Well, there is a twist where people are saying that the ban on alcohol, or the sachet alcohol, is as a result of an attempt to Islamize Nigeria. That when you go to Islamic states, that you don't find the sales of alcohol. But I think that's not true. That's because I support this policy in its entirety. But the challenge we have in Nigeria is not the absence of policies or laws, but is the problem of implementation, the problem of feedback. That's the reason why most policy, we find policy somersaults. There are a lot of policies that have failed in Nigeria, not because these policies were not well designed, but because these policies were poorly implemented. Well, I totally support the implementation on the ban of sachet alcohol, because when this policy was rolled out in the first instance, the reason the government gave is that they said they wanted to discourage underage drinking. And we live in a society where we see a lot of persons having access to alcohol. We also find parents sending their children to go and buy sachet alcohol for them. And this has exposed these children to the prevalence of alcohol. Well, I think this ban has a lot of advantages. First, let's look at the health advantage. Now, if alcohol, the sachet alcohol is banned, it means that the children will have restricted access to alcohol. And this will lead to a lot of health advantages. In terms of, it will reduce the level of heart problems, respiratory problems that children are having. And it will also reduce addiction. Because when alcohol is readily available, when it's cheap, a lot of persons will have access to it and people will be addicted. But the absence of sachet alcohol will make a lot of persons to have other healthy options. Instead of being addicted to sachet alcohol, children can have other addiction, maybe reading, exercise, and other forms of social lifestyle. But when alcohol is readily available, I think it's a problem. And so I support the government in this year policy, but I wish that these policies were implemented.
We hope that it will be well implemented. I like to add that I really comment the steps they want to take in implementing this. According to the report, we already have these organizations preparing for campaigns, preparing to reach out to even the rural communities, to create awareness and all that. I think it's going to, it's a welcomed development, like you said. I also do not want to look at the other phrases that people are saying that this is an attempt to Islamize. I don't see it like that. this availability of sachet alcohol, apart from the children being exposed to it, sometimes I had an experience once that got me very scared. I was in a bus and the driver, while driving, was holding a sachet of the alcohol and was drinking and driving. And I mean, you see drivers, before they go to drive, they take like 2 sachets, endangering the lives of the passengers. So this is a welcome development. And like you said, we hope that this course is pushed to the end. We go on a short break, and when we return, we will continue with the rest of the reports. Stay with us. Welcome back from that short break, and thanks for staying with us. Meanwhile, a 43-year-old man, Latif Suleiman, has been arrested in Sepeteri, Oyo State for allegedly killing his elder brother over a claim that he was shot in a dream. Suleiman reportedly woke up convinced that his 52-year-old brother, Mustafa Amidu, had attacked him while he slept. Police say Suleiman picked up a heavy rock and struck his head on the while he was seated before fleeing the scene. The victim was rushed to a hospital in Sepeteri, but was later confirmed dead by a medical doctor. The Oyo State Police Command said the suspect has been arrested and has confessed to the crime. Commissioner of Police Femi Haruna has ordered a full investigation, assuring the public that justice will be served in accordance with the law. Is this funny? I don't want to conclude. Imagine having a dream that you were being attacked, and then waking up and attacking the person you saw in the dream first. Do you agree that this is just about having a dream that he was being attacked? If these were Christians, then I would say that in a way, indirectly, religion may have had a role to play. We have witnessed situations where people are told in churches that, oh, Out
I think that the government should check religious activities.
okay.
And there should be policies from the government that should stipulate how these religions should operate. We're not living in dark ages, maybe before 1968, when religion was in charge of the state. Now we have a state that is in charge of religion, where religion is have been subjugated to the state. Because when you look at all these Muslim churches, where an individual goes to open a one room and call it a church, and these people have some mystical powers. They come and tell you your mother is responsible for your misfortune, your younger brother is responsible for your misfortune, and they aggravate anger. They build hate where hate wasn't even existing. So the government should bring out policies to ensure that these churches are well regulated. The pastors should abide by the law. If you come out to make a statement, you should be able to prove these statements. You should be able to prove your statement. You can't just come and say your brother is responsible for your misfortune without any proof. So when religious leaders come up with unfounded statements, when they come up with statements that are not realistic and statements that they cannot prove, they should also face the full weight of the law.
All right.
So it will discourage other religious leaders.
All right.
So when you're making an unfounded statement, you should know that there will be consequences for making such statements.
Talking about religious leaders, a pastor and his wife were arrested in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State, for allegedly raping a 13-year-old girl, a relative of the wife. The abuse happened 5 times from November 2025, when the girl was sent to deliver bread to the pastor's wife. The pastor allegedly raped her at the church and his home. The victim's mother was initially convinced not to report the incident and was given the sum of 120,000 naira for an abortion. However, she reported the case after the pastor publicly thanked God for defeating his enemies during a church service. The police has confirmed the arrest and are investigating. The Bayelsa State Police Commissioner assured that the case will be transferred to the Gender Unit for proper investigation and prosecution. The community is shocked and the church members are discussing the development at the police station. This is my state. I don't want to say, let me give you the floor to I'll say what you make of this report first.
Well, I see 3 suspects in this case. I see the pastor as the prime suspect, I see his wife, and I also see the victim's mother. Because she collected bribes. She collected 120,000. to conceal a crime as much as rape.
Yeah.
You know, in Africa, I have so much pity for pastors because we have congregants, church members who see pastors as saints and who feel that they can do no wrong. But I am of the opinion that pastors are humans and they have flesh and blood running through their veins, and as such, they can commit any form of crime. So this is a very terrible situation. Just like I told you that I feel that people who commit murder should be forgiven. After murder, I think rape is the next serious offense that I feel that people who are rapists should also face the full weight of the law. It's terrible that a wife will conceal the husband's crimes when it comes to rape. I feel that the wife is also very complicit in this case because the wife should have reported her husband to the police. Because rape is a very capital offense. It's not something that should be swept under the carpet. For a man in his right senses to molest a little girl of 13 years, I mean...
The wife's sister.
The wife's sister, and the wife went ahead to conceal it, all in the guise that she doesn't want the body of Christ to fall. That's very wrong. Because women should understand, this should serve as an advice to women. Women should understand that they shouldn't be complicit to the sins and crimes of their husbands. There are some crimes that you can help your husband to conceal, not a crime as grievous as rape. Now, if the man has the effrontery, the audacity and temerity to rape a girl of 13 years, because these things will not happen on impulse. This is an idea he has conceived over time.
Yes.
And he went on to...
And it is even possible that this is not even the first time
Yeah,
he's doing it.
They said over 5 times. The report says over 5 times.
Like, I mean, it's possible that he probably has done this to other children too. Probably other church members.
Of course. Because it's this idea is conceived. Maybe he takes pleasure in sleeping with children. That's his own calling. So I think the pastor should be arrested immediately, and he should be made to face the full weight of the crime, and his wife should not be spared. Because when you spare criminals, for you to spare your husband, it means that you do not have sympathy, you do not have empathy for his victims. Now this sister's daughter today. Who will it be the next time? Because when we try to fight criminals, we are looking at the future, so that these things will not keep reoccurring. They will not turn to a recurring decimal where it keeps happening all the time. So for a crime like rape, this wife would also have concealed the husband's crime if it was murder as well.
Yes.
So she doesn't have sympathy, she doesn't have empathy for the victims of her husband's explicit. So I think she should go into the crime as well. And the girl's mother, for accepting a paltry sum of 120,000 to conceal the crime of rape, she's complicit to this crime. So if the pastor is getting, let's say, 10-year sentence, the wife is getting 8-year sentence, the girl's mother should also get 6 years as well.
I was thinking 5 years.
No, she should get 6 years.
It's okay, but then this isn't funny. It is a very disturbing one. If this is coming up now, and the fact that the pastor's wife was trying to cover this up, then the question is, how many more crimes have this pastor probably committed, and then the wife has been covering up for him? Are these partners, are these pastors or partners in crime? And, you know, the fact that in Nigeria today, we now have a lot of churches scattered everywhere. And it's now seeming like the more churches we are having, the more crimes. You see, someone just wakes up in the morning and turns their sitting room to a church, and you see everybody running there. That's why we have different cases. In a report we looked at last week, we saw that, we had it that a pastor murdered his landlord for just no cause in Akwa Ibom State. And it was very concerning. If our spiritual leaders, the people who are the pastors that we look up to in church, that preaches the word to us, will go on to murder, will go on to commit rape crimes, then what are the members going to do? And the fact that the pastor had the boldness, the temerity to go on and testify in the church that God has defeated their enemies. And like you said, the girl's mother, I mean, what kind of woman is that who collects 120,000 naira only for your daughter's life that was destroyed? Did she even think of the aftermath of the whole incident before collecting the money? So let's say if the pastor didn't go on to give a testimony in church, she would have swallowed that money. And which pastor encourages abortion? The fact that he raped the girl until she got pregnant. And probably if this girl didn't get pregnant, maybe the rape would have continued. And maybe if she wasn't pregnant, the mother wouldn't have gone to the extent of reporting. We now wonder what kind of pastors we have these days. I mean, I think something should be done to the body of Christ entirely. Are we not supposed to have a body that checkmates this pastor? Do we just pick up anybody from the street and make them pastors and then having them spoil the name of... Okay, in the case of the pastor who committed murder, do you know that the report didn't carry the pastor's name? Rather, it carried the name of the church, Living Faith Church. The report had it that a Living Faith Church pastor committed murder. I don't know the name of the person, but the name of the church has been flagged. This is like dragging the body of Christ entirely to the mud. And it's high time that we do something about it. I mean, a scam not supposed to be like a regulatory body of these churches to oversee what is the kind of activities and the kind of persons that are being recruited to be pastors.
Well, I think CAN has little or nothing to do with all these things.
Oh, really?
Because we have these pastors as self-acclaimed pastors. You wake up in the morning, you rent a one-room apartment, and you call yourself an evangelist. You can even refer to yourself as an apostle, maybe a prophetess because you're a lady, and you start seeing visions for people.
Mind you, we have a lot of prophetess these days.
They're scattered all over the place. So it's a problem. It is.
All right, on to the next report. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, has claimed that his accuser, Mrs. Tracy Ohiri, deleted videos and social media posts containing allegations against him. In a statement issued by his aide, Francis Unwaze, the minister described the deletions as suspicious and questioned why the claims were quietly removed. Ohiri had accused the minister of owing her over 200 million naira for services rendered and also alleged sexual misconduct and abuse of office. She further claimed he attempted to have her arrested to silence her after she demanded payment. Umahi's media office said the removal of the post followed public scrutiny of inconsistencies in her claims. The minister maintained that all records are intact and verifiable, stressing that allegations remain unproven until backed by evidence, and reaffirmed his focus on delivering infrastructure under the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This is a development from a previous report. We had the first report where a woman is coming to make claims that the Minister of Works, David Umahi, is owing her. She delivered promotional campaign materials to him. And then he has refused to pay her for close to 10 years now, or about 10 years. In a follow-up report, we had 4 different women groups coming out to also debunk the woman's claims to back up the minister. And that got to me in a different way, you know. And today we are having the minister coming to say that the lady has deleted some of the posts that she made in this regard. What do you make of this report?
Nigeria is a very corrupt country. A very corrupt one. And we see political office holders, especially top government functionaries, bullying common Nigerians. This is not the first time this is happening. We saw a video some time ago where a serving senator of the Federal Republic was bullying an Uber driver, where after so much reprimand from members of the public, he had to buy a brand new car for that Uber driver. We also saw a case where a senator went to a sex toy shop and started harassing the owners of the shop. Now, two things would have happened. It could be that this girl has given in to intimidation, where the senator has used the state apparatus available to his disposal to bully up this girl. Maybe threats from police, threats from the judiciary. It could also be that this girl has been paid to keep quiet. Maybe they have paid her to say, okay, go and delete all the posts you have made, and she succumbed. Because Nigeria is a country where for you to survive, you don't just need the law. You need top government functionaries. And a lot of persons are surviving at their mercy. We saw a report in Rivers State where a local government chairman went to harass his former aide because he was criticized on social media. So that's the kind of country we have. So these senators, ministers should be put to check, because we see people who are above the law, even if we claim that, okay, that Nigeria is a country that deals with constitutionalism. But it's unfortunate that we still find individuals that have grown along the ranks of impunity, so much so that they are now the law, so much so that they have grown above the law and the law cannot harm them. We have even seen cases in Nigeria where people have said that once you join the Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led APC, that your sins have been forgiven.
You now have immunity.
You have immunity and you become untouchable.
Can't die again.
And your enemies become the enemies of the state. And that's the problem. So that's why I'm alleging that it could be that this girl has been bullied into submission. It could be that she has been given some money and was told or advised to go and delete up the post she has made earlier.
It is so pathetic. I mean, but then what does this have to say generally about the female intimidation? You know, over time, we have always, we are quite used to the motion of the men marginalizing the women, the men oppressing the women. Do you not think that, apart from this senator using his office, apart from this being political, this is another form of the men marginalizing the women, oppressing the women?
I feel that when it comes to oppression in Nigeria, it depends on the circumstances and who is involved, the victim as at that time. Everybody is oppressed. Now, if you remember the instance I gave about the senator oppressing an Uber driver, that Uber driver is a guy. So we have had several victims of political office holders. And it depends on the person, the particular gender who have entered into this kind of business or agreement with this government office holder, with this public office holder at that time. If it's a woman you're dealt with, if you're also a man, worse for you. So it's not about gender when it comes to intimidation from political office holders. It's about who is involved at that particular instance. So everybody is a victim. The males are victims, women are victims as well.
All right. I'd like us to make a reference to the points of the women groups from the reports of yesterday. I told you that 4 different women groups came out to try to bash on Madam Tracy, which is a businesswoman who, they made some points, you know, in as much as I saw a whole lot in their reports and that move. I took time to go through the points they made. Now, they were of the opinion that the fact that a transaction of such magnitude took place and there was no invoice anywhere, and the fact that this woman accepted to take up this deal and push with it without even an initial deposit, a deal of over 200 million, is it 20 million?
200 million.
200 million, yes. A deal of 200 million. And then you didn't even get an initial deposit. There was no formal agreement, written agreement to say, okay, this is the deal. This is when you are paying me. Nothing like that. And the fact that she let the whole thing lie low for 10 years. It's a whole lot. In as much as we are not going to blame, because at this point the woman is already the victim. She is the victim in the entire report, and we shouldn't blame the victim who is already going through a lot. But then it is still important that we point out some of these lapses so other people learn from it. Now, what are some of the things that you think people should learn from this case? The lapses from this woman and the end product of it all that we are now having. And before the fact that the women groups that are supposed to support her and back her up and say no are the ones even fighting on the side of the minister against her.
You know, most of the times, these women are in a romantic relationship with these political office holders.
Which of the women, the groups or the,
no, I mean
the businesswoman?
The businesswoman, the victims. They're in a very romantic relationship with them. And all the time, this relationship is rosy. We don't hear about differences. We don't hear about their complaints and challenges. But when it goes sour, we start hearing lots of complaints. Because you should understand that for a business of over 200 something million, it could even be that this lady is not worth up to that amount. But yet, she went into a contract to supply promotional materials of over 200 something million without initial deposit, and she wasn't paid for over 10 years, and she never complained. Why now? So the advice is that when people are going into formal businesses, but I'm sure that women who go into formal businesses, well-established businesses with political office holders, you always find these agreements written. But when the agreements are not formal, when it's coming as a result of fallout in some romantic relationship, that's when you see this kind of funny reports. It could be that this lady is even trying to blackmail the minister. Maybe the minister has said, be my girlfriend, I will buy you a house in Banana Island, I will do this for you, I will do that for you. So when there's a breach in promise, they try to claim the victim. Because no organization anywhere in the world, no business will want to go and fund a business worth over 200 million naira without any form of agreement, if there was no existence of a romantic relationship. Because only when these romantic relationships go sour that we'll start hearing about this news. We'll start hearing that the minister is owing you over 200 million naira for the past 10 years and you never said anything about it. How have you been surviving? So why now? Why are you speaking up now? You know, this women group are made up of women who sincerely want to fight for women. And they understand that Nigeria is a country made up of laws. And these laws are not emotional. The laws will not back you up because you're crying. The laws will not back you up because you're feeling emotional. No, that's not true. If you go to a court of law, you must tender evidence. You must convince the judge that this man is owing me one. You must convince the judge that I actually went into a legal business with this man. So when these documents are not available, when these evidence are not available, so these women groups, there are lawyers who are among them. They understand that you have no case. But they also know that it could also be a case of blackmail. You know, women are vulnerable. And because they are vulnerable, they tend to get sympathy more in the society than the men. And in some instances, these women just get sympathy. They are merely talking without evidence. If you recall, last week, there was an incident in social media when a lady came up to claim she was raped. Though even if she was careful enough not to mention the name of... Yes, Mirabel. She was careful enough not to mention the name of any man. But on careful examination, it was discovered that she wasn't raped. So you saw that the media was already on fire. People were already running sympathies. People were sympathizing with her. Just like as a lecturer, you teach in the university, and a lady comes up to say that she has been sexually harassed. Nobody wants to hear from the lecturer. Everybody starts bashing him. That's how they behave. In fact, if people start coming with their own experiences, that was how I was harassed in 2019. That's how I was harassed in 2010. That was how I was harassed in the year 2000. So people do not want to hear from the men because they feel that the women are more vulnerable and the men can protect themselves and things like that. So it could also be that there was nothing like that. The minister could be innocent. Because if the minister is not innocent, why did she go as much as deleting her social media messages? Or could it be that the minister had paid people to delete those messages on her behalf? Or
it is possible.
It's possible.
I think at this point you're even... Why do I feel like these other responses contradicting your first response?
No, I'm trying to look at all the possibilities.
Okay.
But if these messages were deleted by the minister, maybe he has paid someone to do that, the lady would have also come up to say that, I didn't delete this message.
What if they've silenced her, like you said earlier?
Has she been killed?
Maybe she has succumbed to pressure and intimidation.
What pressure? There are security agencies that she can actually report to.
This very
he that is down fears do fall. Now, if you feel that you have been well intimidated, and so you can always come out to say, okay, let whatever that wants to happen should happen. Because you don't let the oppressors to have their way all the time. So if you actually feel that, yes, that I have been intimidated enough, you come out and tell your story.
She actually came out. That's why we got the story the way we got it. But then, the fact that it is now the minister who is coming out to talk about these deleted messages, in a way, like you said earlier, it might just have a story to tell that probably something has happened behind the scene. Probably someone has succumbed to pressure. There has been an intimidation. And mind you, at a point, this woman was even arrested. And also, to add up with the point I made earlier that came from the women groups, you understand, I tried to see reason with them. But then I still had my reservations with what I saw in their report. In as much as this woman, Madam Tracy Ohiri, may not have had the actual evidential materials that these women groups had expected. There are things that everybody expects as evidence. But then, in as much as she might not have presented or had those expected evidential materials, doesn't mean she doesn't have any evidence at all, or she didn't have any evidence at all. She actually presented some evidence to show that yes, there was actually a transaction. And yes, the fact that the minister has not even come out to say, I'm not sure he has said there was no transaction. He's just saying he's not owing her, and then there was no sexual advances. I watched one of the videos that the lady did. In one of the videos, we saw a full truck of these campaign promotional materials. It was in a full truck being conveyed to the minister's residence. And then she said that the day she took those materials there, even the minister's wife was there and some other person. So she had witnesses. We saw the truck loaded with the campaign materials.
Was that seen in the minister's house?
That's what she said. And the minister hasn't said, I think so far, I haven't seen the minister saying, oh, nothing was delivered to me, there was no transaction. She also provided evidence of chats and messages. At a point, she said, some years ago, was it last year or thereabouts, when her father was critically sick and needed medical attention, she didn't have the money for it. And then she remembered that, oh, I have this amount of money lying somewhere. My father can't die. So she reached out to the minister and told him, see, my father is critically sick. At this point, you have to give me, even if it's a part of the money, because I need to take him to the... She got ignored. I think the minister gave her a reply. But the reply was asking for sexual favors. She posted them. So we saw evidences of chats, the materials she delivered. She mentioned some persons that were there and all that. So with this now, it is not like the fact that there was a transaction entirely is not true. Actually, there was a transaction. She has evidences to show that there was a transaction. It's just that the kind of evidence that these women groups expected her to have, she doesn't have it. That's where we get to blame her. So even as we blame her, I wanted us to look at it in two ways. Like, it should serve as a warning, a lesson to other business people. That she doesn't have an invoice, she doesn't have a written agreement and all that, doesn't mean there was no transaction. There was. But let's just say she was just, I don't know what she was thinking.
These women group are always emotional towards women. they always want to protect the interest, because these are interest groups, these are pressure groups.
Okay.
Pressure groups that are set out to protect the interests of women. Now, for them to cross-examine this evidence and tell you that these things are not evidential enough, that should tell you that maybe the evidence she presented are not concrete. Because now, for you to say you did a contract of over 200 million, you must have had conversations with this person. It could be through WhatsApp chats, it could also be through phone calls. And you cannot say that, you cannot tell us that there is no trace to all these conversations. Well, if you have a concrete evidence where the minister have entered these agreements with you, then this women group wouldn't have denied you. And secondly, for you to do a contract of about 200 million, it means you're a billionaire. That's what it means. Because it means that you went out of your way and outsourced this fund to carry out this contract, because you weren't given any initial deposit.
Yeah, she did
so coming back to tell us that you couldn't take your father to the hospital because the minister failed to pay your money, it doesn't add up. Because you're a billionaire. And even people who are mere millionaires in Nigeria can afford to foot the hospital bills of their parents. So if you come out, because these ladies want to attract sympathy. Because we have seen cases where women come out because they are vulnerable to wrongly accuse the male counterparts. So, because we have seen these cases oftentimes, we have stopped being emotional about their reports. So when they come out, we try to be very objective, because objectivity is key. Because there are a lot of men who are in police detention, a lot of people who are in prisons for crimes they never committed, just because a lady came up to make those accusations. Because a lot of persons will think it's true because it's coming from a lady who they feel is helpless.
But in a way, I like to ask, do you not see the possibility of the palms of these women groups being oiled? Do you not see the possibility that for this women group to come out and defend the minister so badly, probably they've been bought?
Yes, I started by saying that Nigeria is a very corrupt country. Now, if the palms of this particular women group has been oiled, how about other women group? Because we have several women group, and there are so many women group that I think, like FIDA, that I feel that these groups are so strong that they cannot be easily infiltrated. Because you find women who have made remarks, who have made remarkable achievements in their different walks of lives. So these are women that you cannot bribe. There are women you cannot bribe, no matter how hard you try. You can't bribe them. These are people that stand for what is right. These are people that stand for fairness and for justice. That's what they stand for. So I also agree that some of these groups have been politically infiltrated. Most of them now going to politics, leaving behind the reasons behind their formation. Because that's what you find in Nigeria. In countries where the politicians are very corrupt, you see a lot of these institutions being corrupted because of the fact that the institutions are corrupt. And when institutions are corrupt, you hardly find individuals that are fair. Because when you go and try to fit into these organizations, even if you don't want to be corrupt, you find you start seeing yourself being corrupt because that is what the institution has patterned. This one has patterned those who work in these organizations to be corrupt. So if this women group has failed, okay, why don't go to court?
Okay.
Go to court. Because the judiciary, despite how corrupt the judiciary is still the last hope of the common man in Nigeria. So you don't put all your trust or hope in a women organization. Go to court. Because I feel that if she has gone to court, from the high courts, appeal courts, it will be difficult for the minister to infiltrate these institutions and bribe everybody at the same time, even if it's possible anyway.
I would have loved to say one or two about the statement of the go to court, but then because we do not have all the time to ourselves, I think we should wrap it up on this episode of Atlantic Society Watch. Thank you, Mr. Didier, for always being an exceptional analyst.
It's always a pleasure.
You're welcome. We're open for sponsorship of this program. Jingles and advert placements, news and events coverage, personality, society and political interviews, product service promotions and commercials. Watch us live on www.atlanticnetwork.tv, our TV platform, Limex TV platform, Ifastech platform, Apple TV, Niger TV, Iroko TV. Connect with us on ATM Social. Subscribe, like and share. Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on X at Atlantic TV Net. Remember and don't forget that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. I am Ofina Anucha.
The board, management, and staff of Morrison Media Group presents the 2026 Anniversary Celebration Lecture of Morrison Media Group. Theme: Media's role in shaping social change, addressing inequities, and empowering voices. Chairman Alex Ndudi Enebele, FSM, President, Institute of Strategic Management of Nigeria, Chartered. Keynote speaker, Professor Armstrong Idachaba, Professor of Media and Broadcasting Communication. Panelist, Professor Chris Ochonogo, Immediate Past Head of Department, Journalism and Media Studies, University of Port Harcourt. Dr. Ijoma Tobosia, Secretary, NUJ, River State. Dr. Sarah Joe, University Orator and Associate Dean, Faculty of Communication and Media, River State University, Port Harcourt. Dr. Ibiere Koki, Ignatius Aju University of Education, Rumolomini, Port Harcourt. Chief Host, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, Esquire, Chairman, Morrison Group. Date: Tuesday, 10th March 2026. Venue: Gate Place Hotel, Kilometer 5, East West Road, adjacent Obirikwere Flyover, Rumosi, Port Harcourt. Time: 10 a.m. For more information, please call Kainde Paul Obofadi 081 063 41777 or Samuel Ajinwo at 090-454-00744. Signed, Management.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries.